was slow, and frustratingly, as Commissioner Pham pointed out, the courts in the United States have moved faster than the regulator. That is not in my judgment. That
is not normal.
That is not normal. I'm glad the courts are actually getting there, but it'd be better, I think, if we had, and I'm primarily speaking of the SEC, to actually take the time. I remember they opened up a whole bunch of new job descriptions on their website, lawyers to prosecute litigation, enforcement through litigation. Like, why not hire people to actually codify how this should work, as the UK has, as the European Union has, as the UAE has with VARA. I'll also give Commissioner Pham props. She spent time going around the world and meeting with a lot of these other regulators, where this is not rocket science. You could probably type into Sam's OpenAI, how do you regulate the U.S. and get a better answer than we're getting from the SEC. Maybe. I haven't tried that, actually. I should try that. Anyway, look, the amazing thing is I really do feel like the U.S. should and could be a leader in this market. And there are a lot of companies that are leading, but the U.S. government has not yet been providing that framework that should help.
No, I would agree, because we haven't yet made the jump where there is institutional buy-in. And I like to use the example, if the Bank of Mitsubishi in Tokyo needs to transfer $100 million worth of yen to the New York branch and convert it to dollars, you need $100 million worth of yen in Tokyo and $100 million worth of dollars in New York. You're tying up $200 million in capital. If you can attach that to a coin, it's simultaneously, so the bank frees up half the capital. That's a big deal. But we haven't made that jump yet.
Yeah, but it looks like it's coming, doesn't it?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. We've got an energy.
If you're going to launder money, it's been cash up to this point. So, Bitcoin is probably...
Or jewels.
Yeah, okay, but Bitcoin's probably, for total money laundering, it's probably 0.0005. So why pick on Bitcoin for the money laundering when it's obviously hasn't been used up to... Al Capone never had any Bitcoin.
So I assume you're also talking about Libra then, too.
No, Libra I don't even think is a cryptocurrency.
I don't either. That's what I was going to say.
And I don't think it has any inherent value.
Besides, it's a debit card.
And I don't want it centrally... and Mark Zuckerberg's involed, and everybody gets to keep the float.
Let's talk about the concept, though.
Yeah.
Forget about who's created it and what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
I was in Europe this past week. I had to buy a new briefcase because mine broke actually there.
When I was carrying cash to launder?
All jewels.
Yeah,
no.
Right.
When I was going to sign the receipt or the electronic thing, they'd asked me, do I want to pay in euro or dollar?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, dollar. Then I looked at it. I'm still being charged at 3%.
Terrible.
Okay? So, and when you think about all the people who send money, they may work in one country, send money back home. They generally do that through organizations that charge 5 to 10%. Yeah. There is a need, whether it's a Libra or something else, to democratize the exchange of foreign currencies. Today, with computers and electronic market,
there shouldn't be that.
It should be 10 basis points, 5 basis points.
That
it's not
sense.
Percent. And so I actually believe the idea around Libra, I don't think we need to create a new currency, but the technology to instantaneous calibrate all the currencies, that should be done.
Who gets squished by that? Who are the middlemen who are making money on that?
The banks.
We're making, as the Bitcoiners would say, that's progress for you. At least to get to the point where you're saying that about Libra. No, you're still not saying it about Bitcoin.
I think Bitcoin
has blockchain.
Bitcoin
I don't know if Libra is blockchain.
You mentioned the speed of cross-border payments and the opaqueness of that process, and I guess it's also error-prone to some extent with SWIFT. Santander seems to be trying to approach it with a partnership with Ripple. Just curious what your thoughts are on that.
So I do think that of the use cases out there, cross-border is one of the most compelling. We know that intermediation chains cross-border are long and quite opaque, and they're slow, and they can be quite costly. So my sense is that technology with appropriate safeguards could make a material impact and likely will. And it may well be through a partnership model. I don't want to pronounce on any particular approach, but there are a variety of partnerships out there that are trying to innovate and to reduce frictions and increase transparency for those cross-border transactions. In my sense, I'm fairly optimistic that there are some good solutions out there that don't necessitate a global stable coin.
SWIFT, which is just a messaging system, and then the banks have to somehow pre-fund in Nostra accounts. This is about the technology of banking, not the technology of blockchain. But to go between Tanzania and Nigeria, you need somebody to bear some counterparty risk that the ledgers both move and are adjusted at the same time. And usually it's a bank that is in both countries. You could use blockchain, but the current thinking is you need a bridge currency in between, and that bridge could be a stable value that's backed by the US dollar or the euro. It could be a currency even like Ripple has an alternative. It's just piloted in May, so it's not yet up in any enterprise-wide level, but that you might need something to basically hop, skip, jump, which is called a bridge currency on the blockchain.
We have the technology to allow every financial institution on the planet to settle with every other financial institution in a compatible jurisdiction in any asset in seconds for less than a penny. Just think about this. Anyone who's made a payment knows that we're nowhere near that today. But imagine every financial institution settling with every other financial institution in seconds for less than a penny, any asset. That's fundamentally transformative. We have the technology to do it. Now we just need to figure out how to drive the adoption. And of course, there's all the challenges there's incumbents, there's regulation, there's inertia, there's the there's big players who are really trying to defend, if you're one of the largest banks in the world, you want to push pause or stop on technology because you're in the lead. So of course, you say you love technology, but obviously you wish you could stop it. So
yeah. Hi, we're here at CBOS, and this gentleman is taking his time to answer a couple questions about blockchain and if it's going to be implemented in the banking system. So can you let us know how SWIFT is going to use blockchain for sending money?
I'm not sure how SWIFT going to do it, but for sure they will. It's on its way, and we are doing trials on it.
Very good. And do you know about on-demand liquidity and DLT?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know about a company called Ripple, and are they being used?
Ripple, yes, of course we do.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Do you know about bills of lading going to bills of e-lading in the UK?
No, we are not involved on that.
Okay, but you know about it?
Yes.
Being used on the blockchain?
Yes.
Trading is going to be on the blockchain?
We had listened about it, but we are not involved in it
right.
at the moment.
Are you connected with Ripple in any way? A partner with Ripple?
Not yet.
Not yet. That's a very good answer.
Cryptocurrency does not seek to replace currency. It's a bad name. Cryptocurrency seeks to replace banking. The core things that banks have done since the 1300s, those are going to go away, 100%. And let's just be clear what I mean by that. The reason that we even have banks originated in Italy around the year like 1340, all right? And the reason they originated was because of a set of accounting advances that allowed banks to serve as trusted intermediaries between parties that owed each other money. Before that, literally, I would write you a note and I would promise to pay you money and you'd put the note in your pocket and you'd see if anybody else would take the note. That's why we refer to discounting notes. And then banks arose and it was like, you no longer need to do that. We'll take care of it for you, but you're going to have to pay us to do that. That function of needing a trusted intermediary to maintain ledgers of account to figure out, do I owe Brooks money or does Brooks owe me money? It turns out that function no longer has to be done by human beings. The same way we don't need postal clerks anymore. I can send you an email for free and it's instant and that's just the end of the post office. Sorry, but it just is. That function will go away. What's going to be left for banks is the high value add services, structured finance, investment advisory, all of the things that make a dynamic economy function. We still need people to do that. There's a lot of creativity going on in finance. But the core of banking, the base of the pyramid, the thing that drives most of their revenue, doesn't need to exist. And that's why I say, and I was saying to one of the organizers even before we stood up in this panel, cryptocurrency does not seek to replace currency. It's a bad name. Cryptocurrency seeks to replace banking. Just if you take nothing from this panel but that's what you need to understand.
I do think what has happened at GPI is a big step forward. For 40 plus years, we had a construct around how cross-border correspondent banking worked. It worked, but it had a lot of limitations. We're seeing that move forward, but I think it's a step forward when you're switching from kind of, if I may, horse and buggy to, hey, can we make the horse and buggy go faster? Sure, but if we can actually just move to a Ferrari, let's do that.
So you've said before that you think there's a world where Ripple could take over SWIFT.
Well, I've also said I thought there was ways we could work with SWIFT.